Hi, Eric Gibaud, ericgibaud.com, and maybe you think I'm going to speak about urbex photography. No, not in this video. I'm going to tell you how camera makers are getting a lot of money out of us based on extras. Okay, so let's start. So you have just bought your camera, you think everything is fine, you can go out and shoot. Well, not yet. There are many extra costs that you need to pay, not just for making the pictures, in time for using the camera, the way it's things go in time. I've made a list of 10 points that makes you think of how they get the money out of us. Okay, so let's go for it. The first point, I've spoken about it several times in many videos. I'll leave you a link here about it. This is the charger. Okay. At the beginning, you would buy a camera. Many years ago, you would buy a camera, you would get a charger. It was like a small box, and you would remove the battery of the camera and place it in the charger and charge it. That was fantastic because if you had a second battery, you could charge it at home while shooting with the other battery. Okay, so that was great. But then they stopped doing this. Not everyone, but many makers stopped doing this. They started to give you a charger that needs to be plugged into the camera via the USB-C port, and then it charges the battery in the camera. That means that if you have a second battery, you cannot use it while the camera is charging the first one. So you need to buy an extra charger, which is a charger. This is exactly what we had 10 years ago, that you remove the battery of the camera, from the camera, and then you place it in the charger, and then you can keep shooting with your extra battery. And this charger is optional now, you have to pay for it. So I know that many people say, yeah, but this is for the environment, for Earth, to save Earth, all this. Yeah, that's fine. Everything you want to save, have a better life on Earth, I think this is great for me. But this is a massive lie. Other people say, yes, because in the European Union, for example, they've voted a law that forbids including charger. This is not true. What the UE has decided is every system should use USB-C, not including a charger. Okay. Anyway, this is a big lie because at the end you still buy a second charger. You still buy this optional charger. Why? Because you need it to be really operational. If you use more than one battery, you want one of the battery to be charging while you keep shooting. So if you don't want to pay for these massive prices, crazy prices for these extra optional chargers, buy alternative one like Patona chargers. I'm not doing advert for Patona. I will speak about the battery too, okay? But they are a lot cheaper and they do exactly the same. So don't give your money away to these camera makers. They didn't even reduce the price when they took out the charger. They keep the high price. They charge you the charger, but they don't give it to you, basically, okay? So buy alternative charger, okay? Second point, batteries. Well, batteries, there are two sides of it. First, every time, or not every time, but very often, they make a new camera and they put different batteries than the one you had before. It means if you had extra batteries or this, you cannot use them. You need to buy a whole set of new batteries. And sometimes it's possible, but sometimes it's not possible to keep the same battery. I understand that, but sometimes they could and they don't. Some brands do, but not all of them. And second point is that batteries have crazy prices. How can they charge so much? When I see some battery like 70 euros, 90 euros, sometimes more than 100 euros for battery, are you crazy? When you look at alternative brand like Patona again, I like Patona because I've never had any problem. Sometimes you have alternative brands and I'm not sure if they're that good, okay? But it costs like a third of the price of the original and they work as good. Some say, nah, they don't last that long. Yeah, but with the price difference, calculate and you don't miss out that much, okay? So I don't understand why they make these batteries so expensive. Some brand, they include a microchip. They say it's to optimize the battery life. This is not true. This is to check if you have an original battery in your camera and register it. And if there's any problem, void the guarantee or basically tell you the camera cannot work with this battery because it's not original. And they're just stealing our money. So check Patona batteries. If you know all other alternative brand and you trust them, go for it, okay? But this is unfair, the amount of money we have to spend on extra batteries because of this crazy price, okay? Third point, memory cards. Same thing, two sides. One side is you have a camera that is 12 years old, you're really happy with it, it works really fine, you make the picture you want, you're happy with it, okay? And then you have a compact flash in the camera, 4 gigabytes. And then you say, well, I'm going to buy an extra compact flash, more memory. You go to a shop and says, do you have any compact flash? Yes, we have this one, 256 gigabytes for 300 euros. No, I want 4 gigabytes. Oh, we don't make them anymore. How can I find them? I don't know. Maybe secondhand. I don't know. So if you want some extra memory card, or it happens also with batteries, it reach a point you cannot find them anymore because this camera is not built anymore and you cannot find memory card, all this. So you have to sell your camera or throw it away or forget it and buy a new camera. And there's also another side. Normally brands recommend cards that are I think they're more than what you need, okay? I explained it with my, I actually made a video about memory cards, okay? My Lumix S5 Mark II, they all say you need a V90 speed for your card, and that's not true. I'm using V60, I record in 6K, and I've got no problem, okay? So why should you pay extra for memory cards that are larger or faster than what you actually need, okay? Well, because they're all the big business, they're all friends. SanDisk, Lexmark, all this, they're all friends of Lumix, Olympus, Canon, all this. It's all the same business at the end. Very often the owner of companies are the same shareholders anyway, okay? So make sure you buy the memory card you need and actually will work, not necessarily the super expensive card that the brand is recommending, okay? Point number 4. Well, I'm using a Mac for many years, but it happens with Windows also. And I remember when I changed my camera, went to Olympus OM1. I'm not sure when it happened. I can't remember when it happened. Okay, I wanted to develop the RAW file, and then I got a warning from my software that said you need to update your Lightroom. So okay, that's fine. And they say no, you cannot. This computer is too old. What do you mean it's too old? Yeah, I could not do it. I had to change computer. Why? Because the software that developed the RAW file could not be updated anymore. So that's not fair. That's not fair because if you have a camera that is like 6 years old with 20 million pixels, for example, and you buy a new one right now that is 24 million pixels, your computer can handle this 4 extra megapixel, okay? What they cannot do is force you to have the latest software to make it work, and this latest software needs a really faster computer. And they really force you to update your computer every 5-6 years or 5 years, just this way. When you change camera, all of a sudden you want to develop the RAW file and you cannot, because you cannot use it with the software you have, and when you want to update the software you have, they ask you to update your computer. That's not fair. One I really love, point number 5. You buy a Pro lens and they include the Sunshade. Oh, thank you very much. But when you buy a lens that is not the Pro line of this your camera maker, then they don't include the Sunshade. So you say, well, buy the extra one, the optional one. And the price is crazy. For example, for my 60mm macro lens for Olympus, the original sun hood costs, I think it's about 40 euros. I bought a JJC alternative brand for 15 euros, okay? So that's crazy. And you see sometimes some larger lenses, if you buy the original Sunshade, sometimes it costs more than 100 euros. Are we crazy? We speak of a piece of plastic. This is ridiculous. So avoid paying for that. Get alternative brand for your Sunshade, okay? Because this is really abusive, okay? Point number 6, when you get your camera to have a problem, a failure, or breaks down, if it's in guarantee, normally there's no problem. But if it's not covered by the guarantee or your camera was out of guarantee, then trouble starts to happen. They do what they call flat rate. I know the case of the Canon 24 to 105mm f4. The first version had many problems. The nap, which is like electronic cable in there, it breaks. And I think the component costs something like 30 euros. But when you call Canon, they will tell you to repair it is about 400 euros, 400 or 450. Why? Because it is a flat rate. Even if the component costs 30 euros and the guy who's going to do that is going to spend 20 minutes, they still charge you 400 euros. Same thing with Olympus. If you have a problem with the switch, I think they charge 250 euros for a component that costs maybe 25, okay? That's crazy. And unless you know someone who can repair the camera and get the component and change it himself, then you're going to spend a lot of money. So when it's a serious breakdown, maybe it's your advantage because the cost of repairing was a lot higher than the flat rate. But for many of us, the flat rate is so much more expensive than the real cost, okay? So this is not fair, and they get a lot of money out of us with this flat rate. Point number 7, guarantee. There are 3 kinds of guarantees: national, continental, and international. When you have an international guarantee, don't worry, you can have a failure of your camera in guarantee anywhere in the world and they will repair it or replace it. When it's continental, problem starts. And when it's national, big trouble may happen. You're traveling and then you buy a camera in a country and then you go back home and then a few weeks later or 6 months later the camera breaks down. So you call the brand representative in your country and say, give me the serial number, and just say, yeah, but this camera was bought in such country. The guarantee doesn't cover the problem. What do you mean? No, it doesn't cover, because you need to buy in your country to be able to repair in your country. If you buy somewhere else, you have to send the camera or the lens to that country and they repair it there and you get it back. Yeah, but you have to pay tax to send, tax to come back. And sometimes it takes several years to get your tax back because you have to prove that it was not a purchase, but it was out for repairing. So that's a big problem, okay? So some brand, they ask you for extra money to get international, but still, this is a big scam. They're stealing our money. Actually, with cars, there are some verdicts that prove that they cannot do that, but not with cameras. No verdict yet, I think. I think it was Renault, a guy who bought a Renault in France, a Renault car, and then he changed number plate to live in Spain, so he legally changed everything. And then the car broke down in guarantee, and Renault Spain said they would not repair anything because it had been bought in France. So he went to court, he won the court. Why? Because it was the same company, the same maker, same brand, same product, and there was no reason why they would say they could not repair it because it was not in the country of purchase, okay? But until there are some people that really sue camera brand for these kind of things, we still see every year some people who bought a camera in Asia, in Japan, in the States, and wherever, and then use it in another country, and then the brand says the guarantee is not covered. So when you purchase your camera, make sure it will have a guarantee in the country where you live, okay? Point number 8. Like 10, 12 years, 15 years ago, you would buy a camera and it would last forever. I speak about the quality, the touch, the button. Most of them would last forever, okay? Nowadays, this is over. If you look at entry-level camera or mid-level cameras, the grip after a few years is sticky, the buttons, some fall apart, some part will you need to glue them back, all this. They use worse and worse material. Every new camera material are getting worse. They do that because they want to reduce cost, but still, I think that this is not fair. Your camera works perfectly internally, but externally it's getting ugly and some parts are falling. That's not logical. So we pay more and more for cameras, and the material they use, they are every day worse. Every new model, they're worse. And they do that in a way that they force you to buy a new model every 3-4 years because, I mean, the touch of your camera is not as good as it was before, okay? When older camera, they're still fine, okay? So they need to keep using the right material. This is not fair what they're doing. Point number 9. When you buy your camera, you want to develop the raw file, and you check in the box, and before you were getting a CD with some software, now you get a QR code so you can download the software from the brand website. And then you realize that most of the time this software is limited, very limited, or really bad. Okay, for example, for Lumix you have the Silky Pix, which is really a lousy piece of software in my opinion. Okay, in the case of Hasselblad you get Focus, which is really good piece of software, but most brands, they get lousy software included. Okay, so that means that once you want to do a bit more than basic adjustment, you need to pay for external software. Obviously, you can get free one, like for example, Darktable, for example, or Raw Therapy. Yes, they're free. Maybe they're not as good as you would like, or whatever. But that's not logical that they give us a piece of software that is so bad. Sometimes they get some agreement. For example, with Capture One, I think Fujifilm at the time, and I remember Leica another time had some agreement. I think it was with Lightroom. I'm not sure. Capture One, I'm not sure. And then you would get a free version, but very often limited anyway. So this is part of your camera. I don't know why they don't include a good piece of software that does everything as good as any. After you want to buy the other piece of software from Adobe or whatever, that's fine. But at least the one that comes with the camera should be able to do well, more than just a basic development, okay? And then for me, the worst point is point number 10 and last point, which is when they make a new camera, luckily it is obviously a better camera, not always, but normally better camera, new features, new things that are more advanced. And that's fine. Yeah, if it's new, yeah, it has to be better, okay? And the marketing tells you it is better. Yes, that's okay. But the problem is not that they tell you what is better. The problem is they tell you that the camera you have is not good anymore. And this is a big lie, really stupid. And they get along with YouTuber, influencer. I'm also YouTuber and photographer, but I'm also YouTuber, but I don't have this policy. If I come to this place here 20 years ago, I make picture with a Canon or Nikon D70 or a Canon 300D. I would make the picture would be fine. Okay, I'm happy with the picture 20 years ago. Today I come back here with the same camera, same situation, same light, same place. I make the picture again. Will they be different? They will be exactly the same. So my camera is still good. Obviously, newer cameras, they will bring you faster autofocus, maybe better dynamic range, but not as much as you think. Probably the time it takes to see your picture on the screen will be a lot faster. So they are more comfortable, more commodity, more features that are great, noise, faster autofocus, all this. But does this mean the camera you have right now that is 10 years old or 5 years old is no good anymore? That's not true. If I 10 years ago could make a wedding with my 5D Mark II by Canon, what has changed in a wedding that make me think that I cannot make a wedding picture reportage anymore with my 5D Mark II? Obviously, nothing stops me to use from using the same camera. This is bullshit, okay? So, if you want to change camera because you make new kind of picture you could not do with the one you have, that's fine. If your camera breaks down and you want to change it, that's fine. If you want to change cameras because you like to change cameras, that's fine. That's your right, that's your money. But don't tell me that the camera you have is no good anymore if you're still doing the same kind of picture. This is stupid. This is stupid. And they all organized around this to make you think that, like, you feel like ashamed of the camera you have. No, if your camera was good 5 years ago, it's still as good today. That some new camera allows you to do things faster, easier, more or safer. Yeah, that's probably true. But it doesn't mean your camera is no good anymore. So don't listen to them. Change cameras only if you want or if you actually need it, not because it make you think your camera is no good anymore. Okay? So these were the 10 points. I think it's important to think how you could avoid part of this cost. Some you cannot avoid, like flat rate when you have to repair, unless you know someone that can repair the camera for you. yeah, normally if you have to go to the technical service by the brand, that will be expensive anyway. But sometimes like chargers, the alternative brand, memory cards, get the one you actually need, not the one they necessarily recommend. Makes your calculation, okay? Sunshade, that alternative brand. Software, there are some free software. I prefer to use Adobe. Some people prefer to use Phase One. Some people prefer Darktable, that is free, or Raw Therapy. There are several that are free, okay? Or Affinity Photo, or whatever, okay? Check it, okay? Check it. And there are things that make me laugh when they say about the charger. This is for the environment. Okay, that's fine. But then why do they include a USB cable, USB-C, and you need this cable to update the software or the firmware of your camera? They say, oh yeah, for this you need the original cable. Yeah, if we speak about standard and saving Earth, so then why isn't it possible to use a standard USB cable? Why does it need to be their cable? Obviously, because this is all bullshit, obviously. And it's true that probably if you don't use their cable, it gives you an error, okay? So, yes, check what alternative you have, not to give away your money that easy. So that's it. Yeah, they get a lot of extra money out of us, and we pay happily without thinking that we could save money. So, thank you so much for watching the video. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Small button down here is a small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. My website, Gibaud.com. If you have any question, can leave a comment below. Also leave your links of Maggie on Amazon, links of everything I reviewed by K&F Concept, Sandmarc, and Flashes by Westcott. I also leave you more affiliated links, and also a link to my PayPal account in case you wanted to make a donation. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.